As much as I love talking about cool new tech stuff and how it's affecting our everyday lives, one thing that is honestly vastly underappreciated is how the culture and salaries associated with tech are changing both business and their workers, mostly for the better. And while there is obviously plenty of criticism to be had, it's undeniable that tech is where you go to get the most bang for your buck as far as work is concerned. So why is that? What sort of cultural changes is tech pushing for in the workplace? Why are their salaries so damn high, and can we expect it to stay that way? Lastly, are there any downsides to all of this? The answers to all these questions and more here at Techonomics. Hey, it's Carlos, always trying to provide you with insight on technology and how it's affecting you and the world at large. As someone in the tech industry, I can't help but be interested in how salaries and culture in tech are affecting business. And while it's self-interest for me, given how big and impactful tech is in our everyday lives, I hope it'll interest you too. So let's give some context to find out more. Something that is probably very obvious to most of you, but still needs to be said, is the impetus for all of these changes. The fact of the matter is that the demand for tech workers outstrips the supply by a large margin, and it's only getting larger. It's not just me saying this sort of thing. Here's a great article talking about how a shortage of software developers is coming, and it's only going to worsen as time passes by. Why? Well, the pandemic made it very clear that we are more reliant on technology than ever before. The demand for products like mobile apps, video games, streaming, and computers has grown at a rate never seen before, and with it, the need for workers that can make those products. And this is important context because, at least in tech, it's a workers' market. What do I mean by that? Well, the employers are fighting over the potential employees because there are tons of tech jobs and only a limited amount of supply of workers. The workers have all the leverage, and it's up to the employers to convince them, be it through higher salaries, better working conditions, more benefits, or something else. Suffice to say that it's an amazing market for tech workers, but how much have this benefited their salaries over time? So what are salaries like in tech? Well, it's complicated, but in a word, spectacular. But we'll get there. Here you can see the annual average salaries across a ton of different fields in tech from 2001 to 2011. As you can see, not only were the salaries great, ranging anywhere from 60K to 75K in 2001, which is still amazing today, mind you, but the growth was amazing as well. Here's the actual numbers for that graph, and as you can see, there was an increase in salaries from 20 to 35%, and it didn't stop in 2011. Here's a continuation of that same graph, only from 2013 to 2019, continuing to increase at a steady and amazing rate. Here's the data for context, and while admittedly it's not as good as the decade prior, it's still a 10 to 17% increase. Now, you might ask, why am I making such a big deal about a mere 10 to 17% increase? Well, context matters, and when we're talking about a 10% increase from 80K or more, that's a boatload of money. Not only that, it's common knowledge that wages haven't really increased in decades, at least when taking into account inflation. Here's a perfect graph exemplifying exactly that point. And with the knowledge that education, medical costs, and living expenses have outpaced inflation, 10 to 17% seems pretty damn enticing. And the increase hasn't stopped. Here you can see that even after the pandemic, there was an increase in wages from 2019 to 2020 across a variety of different fields. But here's the part that I find the most exciting. As you can see in this graph, across the United States, regardless of where you live, working in tech pays well, and there are plenty of jobs at that. It's kinda obvious that that would be the case in tech hubs like California, Washington, and New York. But who would have thought that Colorado and Maryland would have an average tech salary over 100K? My point is a simple one. Tech pays, and it pays well, no matter where you are or what niche you're into. And that's great because that means that people still have a path to success in life. With salaries out of the way, in what ways has tech affected culture, at least in the workplace? and I think that it can mostly be summarized in one phrase: work-life balance. At the end of the day, tech workers are valued as a commodity that employers have to fight for, and everyone wants to have a solid work-life balance, so it is almost a minimum requirement to retain workers. So how do businesses do this? Probably the most apt cultural change for the moment would be working from home. As you can imagine, it greatly benefits workers because it allows them to spend more time with their families and not waste time on their commute. It's also kind of obvious for tech companies, considering that most tech employees don't need to be in the office to begin with. Another trend is to give employees unlimited paid time off. Unfortunately, that one is kind of a scam because many employers use it as a means by which to pressure employees to never take time off at all. Instead, I'd say having extensive paid time off where the amount of days is actually counted is a far superior option. And with that, benefits have become rather expansive in tech. I've heard everything from profit sharing, stock options, student loan payments, and things of that nature. Some employees of big tech companies are even trying to unionize to have even more leverage over their employers than they already do. Though personally, I don't really see the point, given that they already have plenty of leverage with how in-demand tech workers are right now. But back to the work-life balance side of things, there are other better benefits that are becoming more popular. For example, taking your pet to work is a great one, because who doesn't want to spend the day with man's best friend? I've also heard of subsidies for childcare or elder care offered as well. Essentially, companies are trying to remove some of your monetary and social obligations to make life easier for you, which in the end tends to promote a better work-life balance because everyone is happier and doing better. So look, for the most part, I do agree with all the benefits of the cultural changes that are happening in the workplace. But what I worry about is the end goal. Businesses want to get the most bang for their buck, and I think, much like the unlimited paid time off, they may just give a bunch of candy in the form of benefits to tie you to the company so that you can't escape because of how reliant you are on all of their benefits, commonly referred to in the industry as golden handcuffs. If not that, then it's all a distraction to get you obsessed with work. By not having other things to think or worry about, your sole focus would then be work, and you might unintendedly start spending more time working than you really wanted to. I also worry that subsidizing all these different services would make those same services think that they can increase prices, which will end up negatively affecting the rest of the workforce. The other thing that I think that we need to be weary of is that things might change in the future. This article right here makes the case that the leverage that tech workers have is dying, and if that's really the case, then all those benefits that came with that leverage might start dying off as well. Now, personally, I don't think that's true. I think that given the increased digitalization of every industry, tech is going to continue to grow, and more as a result of need than anything else. That said, it's important to be level-headed about these sorts of things. Many tech workers have become entitled and think of themselves as superior because of their niche expertise. It's important to understand where that value in the workplace has come from, and instead of being all stuck up about it, try to encourage others to join in as well so that they can get the same benefits too. Hey guys, thanks again for watching another video. As always, please smash that like button. It really does help with the algorithm and stuff. Also, comment down below with your thoughts on how salaries and benefits have matured in the tech industry over time. Do you think that things are going to stay the same like I do, or are things shifting away from tech? I would love to hear your thoughts. As always, it's Carlos from Techonomics, over and out.